Welcome to the Heart of the Equation, where analytical minds explore leadership, professional growth, and the human side of success.
This is the space for business professionals in a STEM field to reflect, grow, and redefine success on their terms.
Together, we'll dive into challenges, transformations, and stories that can help you build an authentic, purpose-driven career.
Let's get this started.
3. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Heart of the Equation. Today, we have our guest, Inbal Orbach. We're so excited to have a finance leader in our podcast. We've had a lot of leaders from other fields. You're the first first leader in the field of finance. Inbal is a vice president and global head of FP&A at Lonza. So welcome to our podcast, Inbal.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you. So, shall we start with a short introduction of yourself, and then we will start with our questions. We have so many questions for you.
Looking forward. So yes, I can introduce myself. So thank you for inviting me. As said, my name is Inbal Orbach, and I've been in finance for over 20 years. Started my career in consulting, working a little bit for PwC. Started in audit, and then in the rest of the years, I've done a lot of other projects in transaction services, M&A, internal audit, tax, so you name it, working with very global clients. And at some point where I was already on my way to become a partner, I just realized that I don't want to be on the side of the consultants anymore. It might change, like at some point I might want to reconsider and come back, but I really wanted to be part of the successes, but also, and more importantly, part of the challenges of a company or the industry. And then I left, and I was very fortunate to move to one of our clients in the mobile industry. I had an amazing experience. And then I started climbing and moving into different industries, different geographies, learning and collecting experience along the way, also developing my leadership capabilities and leadership style, and also extending my family to the 4 amazing kids that I currently have. And yes, and my most recent position is with Lonza. I joined a little bit more than a year ago, and I'm really excited about this opportunity at Lonza recently. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And your mom of 4, I didn't know that. I
Yes.
never understand how you women with the kids
Yeah,
do that.
it's unbelievable. I don't know how you're doing this with 4 children and all the stuff that you're already doing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of like a magic, but at the end of the day, it comes to a good support system, which obviously I moved out of my home country from Israel 6 years ago into Switzerland, so a little bit less of a support system, but I have an amazing husband who is always, like he's the one really onboarding the kids. So he was the one responsible for onboarding them in Switzerland. He's more of a cook or a chef, let's say, than me. So we have, a really good balance between us. If I need to travel, then he's there, and with the kids, when he needs to travel, then we do the opposite, and we always communicate. We use a lot of, I would say, technological, solutions. So whatever you name it, WhatsApp, Teams, Zoom, whatever works. We share calendars, so we are always kind of an always on discussions between us in order to facilitate everything. And and it works. And I think it also, working on my sense of guilt, that obviously it started when you have your first child. But then, if you really want to progress and you want to, at least in my case, be a role model for your kids, and I have a daughter and then 3 sons, but especially for my daughter, then you just find a way to remove the guilt, and you say, I do it because this is, like what I want to express for, and like, and show my kids that, it is possible, also for women to really develop themselves and be successful and be senior leaders, and still have the family. And I'm a very, very much of a hands-on mom. I'm part of the parent association, and like, and I'm there, and I make sure that even if I'm traveling, I'm there for all the celebrations and the like events in school. So I'm the evidence, like, that it can be done.
Wow, so
Oh,
inspiring.
I love that. Absolutely love that, because and it's really important that we started with this, because a lot of women struggle with mom guilt all the time. I meet them. I have been one, but like you, now I have transitioned into, like, this is all that I really, really wanted to do, and I don't want to be the example of a mother, which is like a sacrificial. The generation that we saw before us, right, where our
Exactly.
moms were always sacrificing, and they were like, I could have become this or done that, and I don't want to leave that to, like, just because of motherhood, I couldn't do this and that. So I think very important to have role models like that. So you just saying that is, I think, has already would have touched the hearts of so many who are listening to us today.
Thank you.
And give a real example that it can be done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to go back a little bit. I know you, Inbal. I'm following you since some years that we have met in a seminar, and with your talk, basically, how you have started everything, you touch my heart. What is really interesting for me, and I'm sure for Sarah and Pragati and many other women, is how you have developed your leadership style, your very leadership style, that it is yours, that is not copy paste of someone else, that is including kindness, humanness, and compassion. If you can guide us, give us insight how we can create that in our companies, in our life, our leadership style.
Yeah, so I'm a very curious person, and I like to learn and to get feedback. So the way I developed my leadership style was always, like, looking at leaders that I really enjoyed working with. I enjoyed how they made me feel, and like, how they make me be seen or valued. Also looked at others that were the opposite, and I said, okay, this is not how I want to lead. And I always kind of, like, I took notes of the ones that were very inspiring to me, and I said, this is how I want to lead, when I'll become a manager, and like, while having, the more progression in my career. And once I started, like, I had my first leadership role, and I started having direct reports, I was always listening to them, and also understanding the impact that whatever I say or demonstrate in my behavior, how they react to that, and always also proactively asking for feedback. Now, we need to be careful, because obviously when you learn from leaders, you absorb, and you say, okay, I like this behavior or that behavior, but that means that you will not be authentic. So we just need to make sure that we don't kind of, like, adopt behaviors that we think that will make us good leaders, but they are not really demonstrating who we are. And maybe in my early days, I wasn't very authentic, like, I really wanted to be, perceived as powerful as one leader, or assertive as the other, but also compassionate as the other. And I did it, like, kind of, like, I was collecting behaviors, and I said, let's try this, let's try that. And that's fine, because you explore. But along the way, and by seeing how my team members or my peers or my leaders reacted to me, I learned how to kind of navigate it, and to find my own voice, and to be authentic. So I'm still learning. I'm still, like, I'm still now being, like not for a long time in a new company. I'm looking at new leaders, and I also collect ideas. I say, oh, I like this, like maybe it's something that I should find a way in an authentic way to also incorporate in my leadership style. So it's still a journey. I'm not done yet. I don't think I will ever be done, but it's really about learning what makes sense and what resonates well with me, and what is my impact on the others, the surrounding, especially my team members, because I remember how my leaders made me feel, and I want to also them to remember me in at least in a positive way, and that they will say the same. I like how she does it. Maybe I will take it into my leadership journey.
That was so interesting what you shared about this finding your authentic way. We hear so much about this word. It's a buzzword, but it's very difficult to be yourself, but then at the same time know your compass, but then at the same time do the right thing. I think it takes some experience and making a lot of mistakes along the way to find that way that works for you. It's you, but still it's aligned with the values you believe in.
Correct.
Something
But
I was
maybe I can just, sorry to stop you. Maybe I can just say one thing. It is more exhausting not to be authentic. So,
yeah.
like just trying to be someone else, you cannot, it is not sustainable. You cannot keep doing it for a longer time. So, like it's easier to find a way to be authentic. And even if you did not collect all the different attributes from people, or you do not display them, it's fine, because this is what is right for you. If you keep trying to collect like different ways of behaviors, and then just and it's not something that you feel comfortable with, it's just exhausting, and you cannot do it for a long time.
You're right. It's almost like playing in a film, being an actor. It's not
Yeah.
you. You're
Yeah.
playing a role. Yeah, it is tough. So my question was mostly around the topic of performance. This is very close to my heart because of the type of people I work with. Always like how to perform better, but then at the same time in a way that is human friendly. Because the word performance, most of the time when we hear it, we think about data, and I guess you being in finance, you work with a lot of data. So, how to run high performing teams, large teams with all these people in a way that is human friendly? What are the values? How does that work? Or how does it look like?
Yeah. So first of all, my first priority, like, yes, there is always the team management and the team leadership, and I'm very much dedicated to them. But my role is about performance management. This is what I do. This is what I'm hired to do, and this is like my experience. So I'm always very thoughtful about how to run the processes, so we allow enough time to plan ahead, to have discussions between us, to collaborate and discuss with the business. So we are not kind of, like stuck in our own corporate mindset that we know everything, that we take decisions on behalf of everyone. And this is also more credible to me, where you learn the business well, you focus on the main drivers, you don't let other areas or other topics that are not like are not driving the business to derail you from like where you need to go. And by doing this, this is what I ask the team, is to be super focused on what makes like what moves the needle for the organization. And then we don't need to go through very lengthy processes, very time consuming processes. We focus, we manage the processes, we talk with the right stakeholders, and then we are able to like to drive the performance. And by doing this, we are also able to manage the human like the human factors, so reducing time on redundant activities, making sure that they understand the business well, so they can focus on what matters most. And this is the kind of like on the job training that we are having all the time. This is the feedback that they get from me. this part is less, like less important. This part is exactly where we need to go. So this is kind of an ongoing improvement all the time. And this is our process. And they learn over time. And whenever we get feedback from my manager, I also share it with them. And I say, this is where we're going. So next time they will be even more focused, and we don't need to go through more iterations. We close, like we reduce the time by and having even a more higher quality deliverables in a shorter time, and then they have more time for themselves or to develop their own capabilities. But actually they were learning, like all the time. And this is what I also reflect to them, that the journey is, whether it's on the job or in a classroom, but we're always, there is always a learning. But we keep driving for performance. So, like we do this by really focusing and on what is driving the performance. I hope I answered you what you were asking.
Yeah, and it was interesting to me that you brought up this topic of time and learning. I'm not sure I've heard a lot of leaders pay attention to these elements. It's always like implement this initiative and this is the target, and you brought this up, and that I found quite human friendly actually.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anissa, would you like to ask the next question?
Sure. So we talk always about what is good to do, the insights, tips, and for me it's always interesting also to see or understand what are the mistakes, right? And what are the ways that are not bringing the result maybe. So my question is, what do you think are the mistakes that especially women in corporate make and that hinders them to basically grow in corporate, let's say to go up to become a manager, to become senior manager? How can we avoid those mistakes as well?
Yeah, so I'm, this is my recipe, but and I hope, like I can help a lot of women, but obviously everyone needs to kind of, like take their own decisions. I think common mistakes are, first of all, not believing in themselves or thinking that they are less smart, less sharp, or also less productive because they're kids, because they need to be with the family, or they will not be able to deliver as other colleagues, or especially men colleagues. And I think this is the one thing that we need to kind of take away. And we have the same opportunities, we have the same qualities, sometimes even more, and we need to demonstrate it. We shouldn't be afraid to put them on the table and to say, this is what I want. I want this role. I want to be promoted. I want you cannot imagine how many discussions I had with my team members when I asked them to, how can I help you? What do you want to do? So you need to tell me what is your aspiration so I can help you get there. And the discussion was always kind of, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I just want to do my job well. And when you have the same discussion with a man, or like historically with my team members, and also now, they are very focused, they know exactly. And there were sometimes I told my female team members, listen, tell me that you want my job, please tell me, because this is how I know how to help you. Because I honestly, being very honest, I've said it to my bosses several times before, I want your job, like maybe not specifically you, but I want the same position, and I want you to help me get there. And you tell me what I need to do, give me feedback, and I will do what is needed to get there. But if you don't tell me, like you don't tell me exactly what is your aspiration, where do you want to go, we cannot really develop a program or a plan to get there. And this is what I find very difficult with women and men. So the first mistake is just really think strategically where you want to go. We are kind of letting letting our faith or leaders or situation kind of drift us to and And then we either land where we wanted or not, or we kind of, like say, yeah, it's okay, like maybe I'm happy and content where I am. But this is not strategically planning, like sometimes, when you think about, yeah, we want to buy a house, like we want to plan for a vacation, you're always planning. But for us, we don't really plan. We kind of let the situation takes us where, and then we land somewhere. And this is, I think, like and I was the same, like in my early years, because I didn't know exactly how to strategically plan for it. But at some point you gain enough confidence, and you also know, like what are the rules of the game, like which support system you have, and how do you manage yourself with having a family and kids. And then you start really strategically planning. And this is what I tell everyone, even from a very early part, like stage at their journey. Think about it. Tell me where you want to go. Like it's fine when you're younger to have maybe different things that you want to achieve. When you get older, and I know about myself, you kind of convert, and you're like, you get to, this is exactly what I want to do. And then you just starting to say, okay, these are my gaps that I need to close in order to get there. And my next role should help me close A, B, and then my next role will help me close C until I get to where I am. And women don't do that. And this is, I think, the first and the most important mistake that I whenever I mentor women and I discuss it with my female team members, this is always when I what I tell them. And I always tell them, tell me so I can really help you. Yeah, and then the rest is really, like being true to yourself, and always not accepting, and it is related to strategically think. Is not just accepting every offer that you've been given, like, yeah, like you get you apply for a job, and then you get an offer. Maybe the position is not exactly what you wanted, but you say, yeah, you kind of, like not trust the process or trust yourself enough to say, I shouldn't take it. I should say no, because I know that I can do better than this. I can have a better position. Or when you negotiate the pay, this is also something that you can like sometimes you think, if I say that I want more, maybe they will back off. So I will accept whatever is being offered. And it shouldn't be this way, because honestly speaking, if it was a man, the other side would expect a negotiation. So we shouldn't also, like take ourselves, as granted. We should do all the analysis and learn what is available, and then go to and ask what we think we are worth. And yeah, so this is always, like for me, I know it's a big topic and everyone is talking about it. And whenever I do it, I have to say, to be honest, I'm still not 100% feeling super comfortable negotiating my pay or pushing back on some, but I did say no to a lot of offers that I received, because I thought that the role was not reflecting my experience, or the compensation did not reflect my worth, and I said no. Yeah. So I encourage everyone, like to really think about your worth and about what you want to do, and just move towards it, and not to give up.
Yeah, this is so common
Wow.
what you talked about. We keep hearing about this from all kinds of people. There is this sort of, I don't know where it comes from, maybe because of the education in 80s and before, waiting to be noticed, waiting to be found out and be handed over that crown of leadership. I hear that a lot from people, like, my potential is not being seen, and I have this potential, but nobody sees me. But they're also not doing anything. They're just waiting for the team leader to come and say, hey,
All
you're
right.
So what do you do about it? This is what I always ask. So, like if you really want to be a leader, what do you do about it? How do you position yourself? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you make sure that people notice you? You cannot just sit and wait. And I know, again, that when I started, and maybe one thing, so when I started, I also was kind of waiting. But maybe another one thing that is very typical for women is don't go into this niche of like getting things done, because this is very typical for women. Yes, I will do this and I will fix that. Think about it again strategically. What will be the differentiator? How you can position yourself in a way that will help you to move ahead and to be acknowledged, but not as the one that is being the fixer, because the fixer is a niche that is very difficult to get out of. And it is not showing that you are a strategic thinker, that you are a strategic leader, that you have this kind of attributes that the senior leadership is looking into. They will always consider you as a fixer, and then it's very difficult to get out of it. So I see it a lot in women. They kind of take this because they are they are being approached more because everyone likes to work with them. But then when it comes to it comes to the decision of who to promote, they're not getting the promotion.
Yeah, so true. Pragati, would you
I
like to
mean,
ask?
yeah, I mean,
Sure.
this one is so, it resonates so much with me because it's the fixer doesn't have time to think and strategize. The
Exactly.
the whole part that you spoke about, because the fixer is always fixing things and has the pile growing. And I have been in that place, I don't know how many times, because I thought if I am fixing everything around me, then people will automatically notice and my boss would know and I would be up for a promotion. And then one promotion cycle passes and then the second one and then the third one. So and also asking, right? We are very bad sometimes at just asking for things, because asking, I've realized in the last couple of years, has been one of the most powerful tools, that you have to really voice out your concerns. You have to stand up for yourself and just ask, even if you're, even if in your mind sometimes it sounds like a most ridiculous, oh no, how can I even say this? But the moment you say it and it becomes real, you see the things starting to actually happen. There was one question that not about this, but I wanted to ask you, because you have changed your job uh, several times probably in your career. How do you kind of make sure, and especially in leadership roles, now that you've been in leadership roles for a while now, how do you make sure that you make your space felt, and how do you come into your own being with all of the leadership essentials that you spoke about? So what's like the mantra or like the success recipe that you have when you're moving from one company to the other, where you are still establishing your credibility, where you're still kind of making a mark and getting to know people? What is the strategy there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for me is first of all to speak with as many people as I can, to identify where are the main areas that I can contribute as part of my role, like not going to anyone's else kind of domains. And then so I spend a lot of time speaking with a lot of people in finance and out of finance, really identifying where I can be valuable, where can I drive value, where can I help them, but not as a fixer, but as a strategic contributor. And how they see my role. So what they tell me that can help them. And also there, like you need to filter it, because sometimes they see my role as, like you're in finance, so you help us to, I don't know, like do invoices, which I haven't done for years. So, and which is, like part of the development, but I've grown. So I kind of see myself in a certain position, and and this is where, you know, like I went back and kind of reflected. I noted down everything, and I had a list of areas that I said, okay, now I feel comfortable enough to start promoting ideas and projects, and you know, like, yes, I have my day to day, but on top, if I just do my day to day, this is not really helping anyone, especially not myself. I need to be valuable by now providing ideas and initiatives to drive performance, to be more, to help drive growth, to find a way to reduce, you know, like cost, and to be more productive, to simplify processes, to help the people, to allow to have more time to be strategic and to have discussions, and this is all my responsibility. So I started, you know, like listing down ideas, also bringing some ideas from my previous roles, and learning how it works in this organization, and I started pushing for projects. And I think, you know, like when you come to a new company, yes, even if it's a well-structured company, but you identify the areas which are, you know, like very much in need, then you have almost immediately a green light. Yes, take it. And, you know, like, what do you need in order to get there? And you start building your network, and you get the support and the buy-in, and then people are happy to work with you, because, you know, like, what you fix is not just for myself, not just showing that I can lead global project, it's also helping them in their day to day. And this is what I do. I try to always find areas to improve, to simplify, to automate, to help the company grow. So for me, because my role is performance management, it's always with thinking performance, thinking productivity, and this is my focus. As I said before, I'm always focused on what moves the needle and the future, and then everything else for me is just noise. You know, like, yes, we have the day to day, we do it, but keep thinking about the future all the time.
This was very useful as my last question before we close, because we could probably talk to you for until tomorrow. What you brought up was something actually I hear a lot about. A lot of people, they have like working in this high adrenaline environment. So much is going on, so many projects, more things to do. And what I always hear is that, but I do not have time for my leadership development. I'm so busy on day to day, but they really do not have the time and the space to develop themselves. And before you know, 2 years are gone, you're sitting here, you haven't done anything towards your goal. So that what you shared is very much explaining, like, how things should be.
Yeah. And I have a very detailed individual development plan, and it is shared with my boss. And, you know, like, I really went into, so it's not just a general one. It's a very detailed one with the first year, second year, third year kind of, you know, and it is, again, strategic towards my aspiration, and we have agreed on it, and we are kind of, you know, like, checking in every time, and I check in that we are actually, because this is, again, at the end, it's my responsibility, it's not him. He will enable it and help me, but I need to keep driving it. So we have regular check-ins, but I also have check-ins with myself, that I actually deliver on all the items. And if something is not moving in, you know, like, with the pace that I was expecting it, then I need to reflect, why do I need help, or is it me? But I'm allowing time for my own leadership development. So and this is crucial. Otherwise, you know, like, you're just being caught up with the day to day, and you don't have time to develop yourself. You develop the team, but you don't focus on yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting. I love your approach actually, that creating a plan, sticking to that, because most of the time people are just winging it. It's like for some reason it becomes not a priority. It's so interesting how that dynamic is happening. Yeah. So Anissa, would you like to ask our final question?
I think we are just reaching the let's say the time. I just want to thank Inbal and express my, let's say, gratitude that you accepted and you come, and just what you talk about, Inbal, allowing, that allowing is a very important word for me, and I think for Sarah and Pragati. It's just like we enable, we allow, we permit that something just flow and come to our life. I don't have any questions. I want to thank Inbal, express my gratitude, and I'm sure that many women are gonna watch this episode and be empowered and encouraged to ask and allow. Thank you so much for coming to this episode.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Thank you from all of us. It's been an
Yeah.
amazing eye-opener episode for us, really.
Yeah, thank you. It was a masterclass, seriously.
Yeah,
It was like
absolutely.
you brought up some very important points. Now I'm in this space, I hear these conversations all the time, but you said things that were like super needle moving, as you said, and
Yeah,
very
yeah.
practical. So we're so grateful that we can share you with our audience. Thank you so much, Inbal.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you,
much.
and goodbye
Thank
from my
you.
side, and goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Heart of the Equation. If this episode has sparked something for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on LinkedIn or Instagram to continue the conversation.
And if you know someone who is navigating their next career step, share this episode with them. It could be exactly what they need.
We see you next time as we explore more about leading with purpose, resilience, and authenticity.
Let's keep growing together.